right, tonight the unhinged, angry, rage-filled Democrats, their allies, and the hate Trump media mob, they're continuing their smear campaign. Now they're targeting Senator Lindsey Graham after he encouraged Donald Trump Jr. to exercise his Fifth Amendment rights in response to a Senate panel subpoena about his Russian contacts. For the record, Don Jr. spent nearly 30 hours testifying already. When is enough enough? Take a look.
It's progress, yes. You had U.S. senators telling the president's family to ignore the rule of law. That's nuts. By any
Chair of the Judiciary Committee.
Yes.
Who you would think would be down.
Yes, I know his numbers were horrible before he started being Donald Trump's BFF. But is it worth it? That's an answer, only he can provide. Chris.
Yeah.
Lindsey, if you have an issue with anything I'm saying, you know my number, baby. Give me a call.
Can I just help these people out? The Fifth Amendment is the rule of law. A rule of law is based on a little document called the Constitution of the United States. But the senator is standing strong, supporting the president's agenda, that it's creating records on every front, exposing the deep state cabal by pushing for more FISA declassification, securing our border, where he just unveiled a new bill to reform the asylum process. Here to explain more, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham himself. Maybe it's been a long time since I've been in school, but the Fifth Amendment I thought was our right to invoke. Do we ever have that? Did that right get taken away and I missed it?
Well, let me tell you why I weighed in on this. Mueller, I thought, was the final word on all things criminal. The last thing you want, Sean, is 535 special counsels. Richard Burr is a good friend of mine. He's a great chairman of the Intel Committee. He's going to issue a good report, I think, telling us how to deal with Russia in the future and what happened on the Intel side. What I worry about is when's enough enough? Now you got the House Intel Committee bringing accusations against Jay Sekulow and Jared Kushner's lawyer, right? Jared Kushner's lawyer, that they conspired with Michael Cohen to lie to the House Intel Committee. What you see happening is congressional committees are now beginning to take the place of prosecutors, and that's dangerous for us all. And if I were Don Jr.'s lawyer, I'd be reluctant to put him back in an environment where two of the people on the Intel Committee and the Senate are running for President of the United States. They want to impeach Barr, they want him to resign, they want me to resign, and they think Brett Kavanaugh was Bill Cosby in high school. These people are going nuts.
Well, they want to do over. Last I checked, too, not only do we have Fifth Amendment, I think we have something called attorney-client privilege. I think that exists. I read that somewhere.
Can we play that out a bit? So Nadler is going to get Trump reelected more than any single person on the planet. But Schiff
maybe Adam Schiff is a close running.
That's a close second. But Schiff is saying that he's going after the president's lawyer, Abby Lowell, Jared Kushner's lawyer, based on the word of Michael Cohen. And what I worried about with Don Jr. is if we're going to use Michael Cohen's testimony, we'll be going after everybody in America.
Lying to Congress?
Yeah, you'd have to get him out of jail to testify. But Richard Burr is a wonderful fellow. My problem is not with Richard Burr. My problem is
I have a problem with Richard Burr. You and I differ here. Richard Burr,
I don't, but
he spent 30 hours. Yeah. Now, somebody that, again, was admitted to lying before Congress, okay?
Right.
Then a criminal referral went forward by Jim Jordan and by Mark Meadows about the second appearance. And so at this point, I want to ask you this. So we are going to, in the days ahead, we are going to get the FISA applications. Grassley-Graham memo, Nunes memo, bulk of the application is Hillary's bought and paid unverified dossier, which even the dossier's author doesn't stand by. Then we're going to get the 302 meeting notes with Orr and Christopher Steele. Then we're going to get the Gang of Eight material, which I understand is not really good about the FBI admitting things they did wrong. The fourth bracket we talk about are a series of emails that have some really serious admissions in them amongst the FBI. And the fifth bucket will be exculpatory statements that they didn't use on purpose. Anything else that we're going to find out our deep state did to try and undo a presidential election?
I think you're going to get all of that. Hopefully it will be declassified and given to the public. And I don't know if anybody on the other side will care, which will be the sad thing. You know, all of my friends at CNN are going nuts over, you know, my concern about Congress getting out of its lane. But have you heard one person from these other networks even show concern that maybe the FBI gave a statement to the FISA court that the dossier was accurate and they told other people that they knew it was unverified? Have you heard any concern at all about a counterintelligence operation that was being run by people who hated Trump and liked Clinton?
Senator, we now have two sources that told the FBI and the DOJ, the upper echelon, not rank and file. I always make the distinction.
Yeah, right.
They deserve that distinction, those good men that protect us. But I am told in both cases that with the dossier, that Orr warned him, it was unverified, Hillary paid for it, Steele hated Trump. Also, now we have the emails before the first application went in. It sounds like a premeditated conspiracy to commit fraud on a FISA court. And I'm also hearing Horowitz is done and it's devastating. Any word that you're hearing?
I can't verify if Horowitz is done. I can't tell you what he found, but I can tell you that if you care about the rule of law, you're going to be very upset about how the DOJ and the FBI behaved themselves during the 2016 election. If you hate Trump, you won't care. If you love the rule of law, you'll be very upset.
Senator, I will gladly endorse your re-election and the great state of South Carolina. You've been doing a great job. Thank you for doing all you have been leading on all of this, and I know you're going to continue with your promises to follow up. Thank you for that.
House Democrats are set to read out loud the entire Mueller report tomorrow inside the Capitol in a marathon session that, well, could go all night. They're trying to correct what they say is the Republican misconception that there was no collusion by hosting a 12-hour reading of the Mueller report. Seriously, I mean, they are in for a rude awakening tomorrow. I guess none of them have actually bothered to read it. I have, and I'm looking forward to hearing them read this one out loud. Here we go. The Mueller report did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government. How are they going to say that? The Mueller report did not establish that the contacts described in Volume 1 amounted to an agreement to commit any violation of federal criminal law. And the Mueller report did not establish any agreement among campaign officials to interfere with or obstruct a lawful function of a government agency. So where's all that collusion? Will Democrats come to regret the dramatic reading, which I guess is going to get taped and sold on Amazon or something? Joining me right now, presidential historian Doug Reed. It's the audio version, right, of the Mueller report. Doug, it's good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too, Trish.
So are you looking forward to this?
It's going to be like going to the dentist. I'll put it to you this way. You're a very brilliant lady and you're a very beautiful lady, but if you started reading the Mueller report out loud on TV, I don't think I could make 5 minutes without falling asleep.
You're going to laugh, but I carry it around with me. I do. Volume 1 and Volume 2, because you know you never know when you're going to need to cite it. So I actually think, I'm going to estimate, it would take more than 12 hours. And that's just based on, you know, I know how long it takes for me to get through one of my opening commentaries, and I'm betting it's going to take them more than 12 hours, but we'll see. Do you think that they will really be comfortable reading all the parts that say there was no collusion? I mean, Volume 1, I think, is going to make them angry.
I think they're going to be disappointed. I mean, if Bob Mueller, who wrote the Mueller report, couldn't find any new indictments, and what are they going to find? And Mueller had 1.4 million documents from the White House. This is just sad and funny. I mean, it's not going to be a big audience, I don't think. They'd get more viewers if they'd read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Well,
that's about 400 pages.
Not to mention, though, Doug, I think a lot of people on the left don't want to hear what's in this report. In other words, don't forget they had spent 2 years hoping that you know, this was going to be the definitive collusion example, right? There was going to be proof, there was going to be evidence that somehow Donald Trump was an agent of Russia. And now that they don't have that, the Democrats are, you know, looking for anything else. I mean, they move on to Volume 2, which really there should never have been a Volume 2, given Volume 1. But Volume 2 gets into whether there was obstruction. I think that's what they want to really cling to, despite the fact that they're there was no crime and the president was just asking his attorney, you know, what do I do about this? That's what they want to cling to, sir. And I suspect it is because they know what's coming. And I think you and I both know what's coming. And what's coming is Attorney General Barr having just appointed a U.S. attorney from Connecticut to look into what they did, what James Comey did, what Andrew McCabe did, what James Baker did, what Clapper did, what the rest of them did. And as you heard Corey Lewandowski say, there could be some criminal referrals coming.
You're absolutely right. That's right on the nose. That's what's going on, and this is another distraction. But they just can't let go of the 2016 election. Now they can't let go of Russian collusion. The Democrats are in desperate need of a John Kennedy-type figure. What happened? They got elected in the House for health care. What about opioids? What about the Dreamers? Just think of that. They're left hanging. Nobody cares. They still hang on to this Russian collusion and try to force us to believe something that we know isn't true.
Not only do we know is not true, increasingly, Doug, I mean, I'm so disheartened. I'm disheartened right now because I think that, you know, I don't know, I like to see the best in everyone, and it's hard for me to really accept that anybody would take a bunch of opposition research. And again, I go back to my training as a journalist and just my pure ethics, right? I would never take something that had not been properly sourced and present it as fact, and that's effectively what the FBI did. And when James Baker was asked about it, he said, no, he didn't check it. He didn't check the sources on it. And when he was asked about the footnote, he's like, well, you know, it was a footnote in regular size print. The reporter said, well, don't you think you should have maybe headlined or something with that? But in other words, this was not FBI research that you were basing that FISA warrant on. This was opposition research bought and paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign. It's disturbing, and it's good to see you.
Good to see you, too. They thought that Hillary Clinton would win, and nobody would ever know.